Let's talk about the biggest sleeper team that could trade with the Chicago Bears for that #1 overall pick. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports all back at it with another video talking, of course, my NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, hit the big red subscribe button down below. Make sure you are following me on all my social media platforms, guys. And as always, hit the bell icon so you are, in fact, notified every time I drop a new video. All right, let's get into it, people. So I have talked about this extensively about the Bears trading the #1 overall pick. We've gone through the teams, really the most likely ones. But now let's talk about a sleeper team. Okay, and I brought this team up before, but I'm going to bring it up again and talk about them exclusively in more detail because I do believe we are overlooking them. And it is a sleeper team because, again, we are not talking about them. The media isn't talking about them. And I do think there is a possibility that they could move up with the Bears and shock everybody. Now, if you remember, just a few years ago, the 49ers traded up to the #3 spot for Trey Lance, and they were out of the top 10. So this is a team that is a little bit below in terms of where they draft, but it could still be possible. And what is that team? That team is the Tennessee Titans. Okay? The Tennessee Titans. Why are they a sleeper team to trade for the #1 overall pick? Well, let's start with the fact that their quarterback situation is pretty much now less than ideal. Ryan Tannehill is nearing the end of his contract. I think he's got actually one more year left, but the Titans have an out. They can literally get rid of him this next year. And so they know behind him, Malik Willis certainly isn't ready. They saw that in 2022. Josh Dobbs isn't the answer as a franchise quarterback, and they need one. And their team is solid, right? They've made the playoffs a number of years. You still got Derrick Henry. You still got a decent defense. And you got Mike Vrabel, who certainly wants to win. He doesn't want to rebuild. And so you can go out and try to get a #1 overall pick and take your hand at a quarterback. Now, again, I say they don't want to rebuild and then they're taking a quarterback. Well, the quarterback could be good enough that he could, literally expedite the process and you're back to contention as far as playoffs in 2 years. That's how it is in the NFL. So to me, the Titans have all of the makings of the problems that a team would trade up for. Because if you remember, I brought up the 49ers. They traded up for Trey Lance and they had Jimmy Garoppolo. And they sat Trey Lance's rookie season. So they could certainly do that if they trade up for, let's say, Bryce Young, right? They trade up with the Bears for the #1 pick. They trade and get Bryce Young. They sit him behind Tannehill. And then, boom, in a year, Tannehill's gone. Bryce Young's ready. Titans have their franchise quarterback. So this lines up with a team that could potentially want that #1 overall pick. Now, taking a look at the other situations here, we've talked about, obviously, the Texans at #2, right? Certainly, but they're not a sleeper, and they could certainly trade up, or they could stay at 2, take a CJ Stroud, if you will, or whatever. Cardinals at 3, they have Kyler Murray. They're not going to take a quarterback. The Colts at 4, talked about that extensively. They're my pick. They're the most likely to trade for that #1 overall pick. They're not a sleeper. Seahawks at #5, they have Geno Smith. He had a fantastic career. I don't think they move off of him. Same thing with the Lions at #6. Jared Goff had a solid year. I think they stick with him. At #7, you got the Raiders, and they certainly could trade up for the #1 overall pick, but I think the Raiders want a veteran quarterback. They want somebody like a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers and just come in and compete right away. I don't think they want a rookie quarterback, especially when they got Devontae Adams. Then you got the Falcons at 8. Well, they do need a quarterback, but they just drafted Desmond Ridder. Maybe they give him a little bit more of a look. Panthers at 9. I've talked about them as well. They could be a sleeper team. Certainly need a quarterback, okay? And then at 10, you got the Eagles. They don't need a quarterback. And 11, the Tennessee Titans, the team I just talked about. And if you go past that, right, you got the Jets at 13, but I think they want a veteran quarterback. They have the team ready. They want a quarterback to just come in and take them to the next level. And then you got the Commanders at 16, who also could use a quarterback. But now we're talking about, okay, it's too far down. And that's the biggest issue I hear with Bears fans talking about the Titans is 11 is too far down. And I hear you. Ideally, you want to stay in the top 5 and at worst the top 10. But we're talking about just outside the top 10. And if the Titans overpay, right, if they overpay you and they give you a boatload of draft picks because I don't think they have any players that we would want. They don't have a Michael Pittman or a DJ Moore type of player. So it would be mostly draft picks. But if they were to overpay, why not? Why wouldn't you consider it, right? If they can't come in with a strong offer, right? Multiple first round picks, multiple second round picks, maybe even third round picks, etc. You got to consider it. So I'm just saying, I don't know if it's going to happen for sure, but it's a sleeper team, and I think it could emerge. So Tennessee Titans, keep your eye on them. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below as always. Thanks for watching.